Now I am very excited to welcome back Chicago radio sports legend and the one and only Mike North from Barroom Network and ESPN 1000. You can follow Mike on Twitter at North to North. Mike, here we go again, my friend. Baseball is hot. Football around the corner. It's summer, baby. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, except now that I'm getting a little older, my hair looks like a 1955 detective type of situation. I once was the talk of the town. Now I walk in and they go, "Is that a detective? What's going on, my friend?"
Mike, you have the best hair. You've always had the best hair, man. I love your pictures.
Well, you know what? The toupee's a little crooked, but you know what? Wait, let me fix it. Let me see if I can get that thing set. Okay. Now we're feeling good, ready to go. Lots of stuff coming up. This is like our 6th or 7th year together.
Yeah.
We're rolling. We got football, baseball, playoffs, the whole ball of wax. Any kind of news we're going to cover here in the next 40, 45, 50. Who knows how many minutes we're going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And we had some news. Obviously, some unfortunate news, though, we have to get to first as fans of Chicago, the city of Chicago, the teams in Chicago, you and I. Got to talk a little baseball. And last night, man, I tell you, when I got the news, it hit me, man. I think it hit me harder than the Ozzy and Hulk Hogan. And it was my childhood hero, dude, Ryan Sandberg. I remember coming home off the bus and had to turn on WGN, Harry Carey, Steve Stone, the Knotswell Jump. Remember the Van Halen song played?
Sure.
That was my favorite opening, by the way. It's still
great opening. Opening. Jump, Van Halen, great song. The Cubs must have spent a dime and a half to get the rights to that from them to play it every single game, but they had it, and that's when Atlanta and the Cubs were the national teams.
Yes.
And I think that Harry Carey became, they always said, you're doing local TV. Harry Carey did national TV because he did the Cubs on WGN television. It's a shame it's not like that anymore, but that was during the heyday of Ryan Sandberg, and Ryan Sandberg became an instant star, a great player. I owned a hot dog stand, 3 of them in 1984, and we were watching on a portable TV the Willie McGee Sandberg game, and there was like 10 people in the place eating and stuff like that. Me and my wife. There's a picture of me on North to North with Rhino, also that you can check out, because what happened was I hadn't been in radio yet, and that game was one of the greatest individual games I've ever seen, hitting 2 home runs off one of the premier, if not one of the greats. I put him maybe second to Rivera. Maybe I have him tie Rivera when he was in his prime, Bruce Sutter. And to hit 2 home runs off him, I think was the cherry on top of the sundae. It's who he hit it off of. It's the situation. It was the pressure. It catapulted them to the MVP. And I think made the confidence in him even stronger than it already was, Kiev, and that sent him to the Hall of Fame career. I was happy to see the Marquee Network put out a big tweet today about a bunch of his highlights, and what was included and missing yesterday, for the most part. Yesterday was a lot of offense. They were showing a lot of offense, and Marquee put out a nice tweet today, and some of the fielding plays he made.
Amazing Golden Glove guy.
Yeah, best stand-up second baseman who ever lived. Now, Alomar dove for balls. Robbie Alomar was a great second baseman. But Sandberg, nobody made the play in.
Remember Sean Dunston to Rhino, the 6-4 threes?
And also the play between second and first, the ball in the short right field, where he'd go to his left, pick it up, standing. He'd always be in the right spot. Perfect throw. 10 gold gloves, 7 silver slugger awards. Hall of Fame. The nicest guy in the world. If you're a nice guy and you're on the Cubs and you can play, Ernie Banks was Mr. Cub. I think for a lot of the younger people, Ryan Sandberg was Mr. Cub. Banks will always be Mr. Cub, but Sandberg, if there was anybody that was going to supplant Ernie, it was Sandberg, because of his demeanor, because of how he didn't cheat the game, how he played the game the right way. And then the next, I guess in 92, I got into radio. And in 93, I was in Arizona with the Cubs. And we hear Ryan Sandberg, who knew I was a big fan, before the game was going to come up to the booth. And my wife was up there, and we were in heaven. That was one of the perks of meeting people like Jordan and Sandberg and Walter Payton and Sayers. I met them all. And Sandberg was every bit as great as all of them. Period. End of
Absolutely.
story.
And I think he played a little third and short too when he had to come in. I remember that. He could play anywhere in the infield, right?
First year he played short and third base, and
yep.
And the story is Dallas Green went over to the Cubs to be the GM. One of the best baseball men ever. Led him to the '84 division championship. They came up short to San Diego, but Paul Owens took over the Phillies GM. As the Phillies GM, Green goes to the Cubs. Larry Boa says, I want a $2 million deal for 4 years. Paul Owens goes, are you out of your mind? It's $500,000 a year and you're 34 years old. He goes, well, we're not going to do that. He says, well, I'll tell you what. We'll take Boa if you throw in this kid Sandberg. Paul Owens and them wrangled for 2 weeks. They didn't really want to give up Sandberg. They gave up Sandberg because Green knew him, and the rest is history. Yeah. Boa, who was considered too old to play for the Phillies, played 3 more years for the Cubs. Excellent shortstop. Sandberg went to second base. And in fairness, Ivan DeJesus was the guy that they traded for, and he ended up playing on the '83 championship Philly team. So, I mean, it wasn't a bad deal for anybody, but Sandberg was a steal, and he was one of the great steals of any trade in the history of the game. You get a guy as a throw-in, and he ends up making it to the Hall of Fame. As a second baseman, he could have played short, he could have played third, but they say his strongest suit was he had all the makings of a Division I quarterback at Washington. And Washington State, but he decided baseball. Baseball, thank God.
Yes, thank God. And him, Dunston. I mean, you had Leon Durham for a time. You had the Sarge, Gary Matthews. I used to love the Sarge, Ron Say. There's just so
Bobby
many.
Dernier.
Bob Dernier, of course. Bobby Dernier and Jody Davis at a catcher. Yeah, dude, that team was loaded, and they were the best team that just didn't win. It's just that tough win, in my opinion. That tough series that they had.
Yeah, they let that one go. They win the first 2 games, and then San Diego wins 3 in a row. I was in Atlantic City for the first 2 games, and I was in a bar with my wife, and we were making fun of all the Philly fans because they really gave us the pennant by giving us a Sandberg and a Boa. That was our keystone combination, and we had Rick Sutcliffe that we had picked up. I mean, Dallas Green was so good. Picking up Rick Sutcliffe, and then he goes 16-1. He's throwing fastballs, 95, 100 miles an hour. It was just magical. And the Cubs became America's team, even over Atlanta. I'm going to say it, even over Atlanta, I think because of Harry Carey. Nothing against Skip, his father, or anybody else over at Atlanta, Pete Van Wieren and all them. We watched them too. But Harry Carey was the cherry on the sundae that I think made the Cubs the team.
It was an era, my friend, and it was really tough to see Rhino go. And I'm loving the tributes, and he's the most underrated baseball player and person, in my opinion, when it comes to all sports, not just baseball, all sports. He was the most underrated person, in my opinion.
Well, if you're a good guy and you play for the Cubs, here, I'm going to give you a perfect example. White Sox fans never have anything good to say about the Cubs. Cub fans usually don't have anything good to say about the Sox. Nobody bum-rapped Ryan Sandberg. White Sox fans loved Ryan Sandberg. I'm a White Sox fan, but I want somebody to win, and I was, not 10 years old anymore, arguing with my buddies on the corner who's better than Cubs.
Yeah, of course.
Give me a break. And the White Sox fans are as hurt. The whole city's down today. The whole city's down. Nellie Fox was my hero growing up. That's how old I am, folks. And he was a 1959 MVP. Just a great player, great glove man, great bunter. Made Louis Aparicio at leadoff the stolen base king a couple times with 56, 60 bases. Gave himself up, made every play in the field. Couldn't touch Sandberg. No. Couldn't touch Sandberg, though. And that's the 1959 MVP. But Sandberg had 5 years of 25. It sounds like I prepared, didn't it? He had 5 years, 5 years of 25 or more home runs as a second baseman, and 6 years of 30 or more stolen bases. Wow. So that's pretty epic. Pretty epic. And then he made every play in the field. He made 9 all-star teams. 10 gold gloves, like I said. Just amazing.
Just absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And Mike, you are a history book when it comes to Chicago sports, my friend. And that's why
I
everybody
got to be
should
good
be
at
following you.
something. I mean, you know, they asked me what 2-2 was. I go, where are we going? I mean, you know,
There you
come
go.
on.
Check out Mike and make sure you do on Twitter at North to North. So, hey, who wins this NL Central deal going on in the Cubs? You know, I have to imagine that the guys in the dugout got the message that Sandberg died. I don't know. I thought that would have kicked me in the ass a little bit, but they were already kind of faltering at the time. You know, I thought Boyd got the short end of the stick on some of those strikes, but I'm not going to dwell on one game. I'm curious. Do you think that between the Brewers and the Cubs, who's winning this division?
Brewers.
Yeah, you think Brewers pitching maybe?
The Brewers are a hungry team, 1-9. The Cubs got up 3-0 yesterday. The difference is Craig Counsell is a analytics guy. Okay, so his script was already written. I'm going to keep our pitcher in Boyd for 5 innings, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Where Murphy, the old school guy, okay, the manager of the Brewers says Mizorowski doesn't have it tonight. Okay, I'm going to take him out after the 4th inning. Well, they end up losing the game because Boyd should have been replaced in the 3rd or the 4th inning. He didn't have it. He had thrown 90 pitches. And in the 5th inning, they got the winning run off him. They end up losing 9-4, but the Cubs only got 4 runs in that game, and that was the 5th run. Counsell is not worth the $8 million so far. Not worth the $8 million because he was replaced by a coach that taught him the game. The coach is now kicking his ass. In Milwaukee, don't kid yourself, gets up for every game against Craig Counsell. The city of Milwaukee appreciates what Craig Counsell did, but he's considered a traitor, and they come after him like he was.
And I still think they're wearing that bitter badge right now.
Oh,
yeah. Giving them a lot of momentum right now.
Absolutely.
But I don't expect it to continue into the playoffs, just like every year with the Brewers. But, you know, I mean, it would suck to get the wild card if you have the second best record in baseball. And that's what we're seeing right now in this division, whether it becomes the Cubs or the Brewers right now. Gun to the head, I'm going to go with the Cubs. I'll disagree, but maybe that's the fandom in me. But I think about that, the bats in this lineup, how strong they are, top to bottom. I think some of them, they just got to play together a little bit more consistent. Obviously, the bullpen's got to be fixed a little bit, but if we can get some innings out of, guys got like Imanaga, you got Rhea, you got Boyd. Oil Can Boyd has been great this year, and obviously a hiccup yesterday. But hey, there's some guys there that Brown, that should be better than they're doing right now. And, Imanaga's been on the shelf. Obviously, Steele's missing the whole season here. But, if the Cubs can make one decent move, and I don't want Bieber. I think you don't make that chance right now for Bieber because he could be shot. You get somebody in there that's serviceable, starting pitcher on a bad team. I don't know if
I bet him today. Morton. ERA, but he's been terrific his last 9-10 start from Baltimore. I bet Baltimore today, plus minus 116, and they're kicking the crap out of Toronto. Morton pitched 6 innings of stellar ball. Then there's another guy on Baltimore that I like, Dean Kramer, that's got a 4.50. You're not going to get some 2.38 ERA guy or 3.50, but if you want a pitcher that can pick up the baseball for about 8-9 starts, take those two. They know how to pitch. They're veterans. They're smart. Morton looked sharp today. Baltimore's playing better baseball because he got off to just a horrible start in April. But the Cubs, when you were talking about the Cubs just now, they got to do this, they got to do that, they got to get a couple pitchers, and Managa maybe. It sounded like you were talking about a third-place team to me. It sounded like they got to do this right. They better do that. They better do this. Where Milwaukee, to me, you can't name any of their players except Yelich, and Yelich is on fire. Who I said before he got hurt and he won MVP, he was good as Mike Trout, and now he is. Wait, Yelich is carrying the Milwaukee Brewers. He is that guy that changes the whole lineup. If he was out of that lineup, they're absolutely dead. I just think they're better managed. I thought last night he got outmanaged Counsell by Murphy, and they got outplayed. And you know what? Tonight's another night. And don't think that the Keisters aren't tight. Most of that stadium is filled with Cub fans, and because they come from Milwaukee, which is our nicest suburb, as you know. And
Look, I've been in Milwaukee quite a few times. I wouldn't quite go that far.
Oh, it's a beautiful town. I like Milwaukee, but we kid them. We kid them. You know, we tell them they're our suburban city. You know, we have Wilmette, we have Palos Heights, and then we have Milwaukee, which bugs them. But then they get even with us when they play us.
Yeah, they do. Well, you know what? The Cubs are on the bounce here, and I think if there's going to be a game that they're going to try to win for Rhino, it better be now.
Yeah.
Although Priester is the better pitcher than Reyes, so and that's why the Brewers are favored. It's getting kind of to that plus 111 though, that it's going to get me a little interested in. So for any of you live viewers, I'm kind of looking in that direction. I didn't play them yet, but that's an interesting look for you today. But hey, there's a lot of NFL to talk, Mike. You love some Bears. I love Bears.
I love some Bears every year until about the 5th week. I love some Bears.
Well, we got to talk about training camp, and it's some of the stuff that we said last year about Caleb Williams.
It holds true. It still holds true from last year.
God, it sucks to be nailing these quarterbacks every single year. It's like because we're never on the positive side, and it's been paying off for us. I mean, right now, Caleb Williams, I really have to say there's a 50% or more chance that he's not the man, and he's just a good college quarterback because he scrambled, got out of situations, and don't get me wrong, there's gonna be NFL games you need to do that, but when you're down by 20 points because of your screw ups and you can't hit the broadside of the barn, you're not going to be able to catch up. This ain't USC playing against Cal. This ain't USC playing against some of the Washington State or Oregon State or some of the worst teams that you beat in the division, because we saw what you did against Notre Dame. Caleb Williams, you're sitting there worried about your social media presence. You're worried about your fingernails. You're worried about stuff that has absolutely no bearing on what's going on. And you say the right things because you've been programmed to say the right things, but I just don't see it in your body language. Right now, it would not shock me if a guy like Tyson Bagent or anyone else is playing mid-season, because Ben Johnson knows that he doesn't have the longest leash in the world either, and he's going to have to get this team going. And Ben Johnson says he's coming over for Caleb. I just think that's talk. I think he just wanted the Bears job from where it was. Yep. I think he's coming over because it's the Bears job, and he'll have to make the adjustment if Caleb is not maturing.
Everything that you said, and is everything we said last year. Basically, that you're running into his mother's arms after a loss, leaving his ball club. I don't care if he paints his nails. I don't care if he wears a gown. I don't care if he wears high heels after a game. He better win, because one of my best friends as an athlete in this town was Dennis Rodman. That guy showed up on a motorcycle in a wedding dress, but we were winning every game. And
he also started doing that for the most part after his success, and he wanted to be eccentric, but he also knew how to be a badass and play the game.
He knew how to play the game, and he played on the 72-win team. And you know what? He was the hardest worker next to Jordan on that whole team. I remember we were supposed to go out one night after the Bulls game. I said, I'll meet you down by the locker room. I'm waiting. He just had a 16-rebound, 8-point, 4-assist game, got in a scuffle with Karl Malone in a regular season. I go, where is he? And they go, he's probably in here. He was lifting weights after the game. Lifting weights. He's the only guy. They were all dressed. They were gone. Jordan was holding court. So Caleb Williams has never learned to take a snap under center, which Ben Johnson with Jared Goff
needs to do that. You have to do that.
And I hear he's having trouble doing that. I hear he doesn't spend as much time in the gym as like a Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a freak. I mean, he's a gym rat. But, people are going to make comparisons. And when Ryan Poles said with Jaden Daniels, with May, with all the other quarterbacks in the league that were coming in, the 4 rookies, if you remember, when he said, didn't even dangle him for a trade for the first pick, and when he said he's heads and tails above everybody else, I was like stunned. I go, I watched 2 games this year. He looks, like you said, he's running around. He doesn't get his 5 seconds to pass like he did in Cal, here in Chicago. He's going to be rushed. He's got to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds. He holds on to the football too long. So we're hoping that Ben Johnson, who said today he's doing all the right things behind closed doors. Well, when we watch him, that's not equating yet. But you got to remember, I'm going to be understanding to this guy in a way. He's had 3 offensive coordinators in 2 years. They got rid of Rokon Smith. They got rid of David Montgomery. They have not signed big money players, if you will. They got DJ Moore, who's a good receiver, but there's a lot of receivers that are like DJ Moore. Their running back situations iffy. We're not sure about their defense. They're picked for last place. I think they're plus 480, 500, something like that. So there's murmurs coming out that he's missing long passes. Although today I heard in the 11-on-11s, he did better. But I don't know. I think it might be one of those feel-out years. I mean, how often does a guy have to put up with a new head coach, his 3rd offensive coordinator? Plus, he's not all that well-versed yet. So it's going to be a tough year, I think. The over-under is 8.5. I'm shading towards the under right now.
How can you not shade towards the under? It is a massive adjustment for a guy with no head coaching experience and a possible deadbeat quarterback that just could turn out to be Ryan Leaf, right? I mean, here's the thing. And this is what I say about college recruiting too. It's like, just because you shined in high school doesn't, and you're a 5-star guy, doesn't mean the 4-star guy doesn't have a higher ceiling. You just grew earlier. You became a man and started growing hair on your face your freshman year and sophomore year. You're full size, and then you look great. But then that kid that's growing junior year, senior year, hell, I didn't grow until junior year. I went up a foot. My friends were all taller than me. Then I became taller than them. It's just
right.
Like, you don't know when that's going to happen. And kids grow into college. Those kids that were, pretty good 4 stars become better than a lot of those guys. And maybe that's the same thing that's going on with the Bears,
Oh.
I don't know, but I have hopes. But extending Ryan Poles was just the pure idiocy. It's just the same shit. McCaskey, looking at Poles like, what did you do? You just could have screwed up the biggest pick. And don't get me wrong. Everybody
I'm going to give you something that's going to stay with you, I think, for a while. This little thing I found out. I think Mark Silverman brought it up on ESPN 1000. And I heard it. I'm taking it. And I'm going to send it to you. It's basically Jerry Venisi, when he was the general manager of the Chicago Bears, was 30 games over 500. And the McCaskies fired him. They just gave Ryan Poles, who's 15-36, a 4-year extension because they said they wanted to align with Ben Johnson. What kind of nonsense is that? He was aligned with Eberflus. And you know what? He should have gone with Eberflus. To give that guy, that's Kevin Warren right there. Kevin Warren taking care of his son. You're giving a guy a 4-year deal. But Ben Johnson, make no mistake about it, is calling the shots, in my opinion, on that football team right now. Period.
He has to call the shots because everyone upstairs is a bunch of knuckleheads.
They seem like they
don't know what's going on.
They haven't had a stadium. They should have had the stadium. They should have been digging for the stadium at least a year ago. The Arlington Park Racetrack is bigger than where SoFi Land is in LA. And you drive by it on 53, which is the expressway that goes right. It's a bridge that goes right where the land is. Completely barren. They want to move back to Soldier Field. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go to Soldier Field. It's the hardest stadium to get to in the country for NFL. It's the least. It's got the least amount of attendance, 62,000. Okay, and it's archaic. It's old. It's just not conducive to where it is now. And most of the Bear fans now, a lot of them, all live they live in Chicago, but a lot of them now live in the suburbs. So It's a much longer drive too. So I'm hoping the Bears do it, but Kevin Warren came here unprepared.
Kevin Warren
unprepared.
And Ryan Poles, they think they're hustling people while they're getting hustled. You know, they have egos like they're smart, and there's some of the most ridiculous decisions I've ever seen. And then they're quiet about it and sneaky, just like that Bears culture that's always been there of just too smug to talk to people. Yeah, I hate that. It's just the same shit with McCaskey constantly. You can't be honest with anybody. You extend Poles for doing what? Nothing. He's done nothing.
You can't have 15 wins. I mean, they had 6 wins a year before he got there. So, I mean, they haven't improved on that. They've been averaging 5 wins in the last 3 years. He's the one that put the whole thing together. He's the one that hired the offensive coordinators. He's the one that didn't have an offensive line up until maybe this year, hopefully. They had a strong day today. So I'm hoping, you know what I'm hoping? A surprise. Every year there's 5 teams that
We're
didn't make
hoping
the
for it.
playoffs the year before. Please surprise me. I hope Caleb Williams comes out. See, I've been on this deal where I'm just straight with people. I didn't want Trubisky gone. And I'm laughing my ass off today because they got rid of a quarterback that helped lead them to the playoffs 2 years out of 4, 29 and 21. Then they draft Justin Fields. Bust. Then they draft Caleb Williams, which right now everybody's going, well, he's not generational. And all the West Coast people back in the day, the Vissen people, a lot of people I respect and listen to said Caleb Williams was generational. Then I'd watch him. I go, do they know anything about football? No, they watch Pac-10 football where there's no defense. It was so bad they broke up the damn conference. They got rid of the conference. The USC defense that year that Caleb Williams practiced against was ranked like 90th.
Yeah.
90th in the nation. So you better be able to pass against them in practice. And then when you watch Oregon and some of these other teams, they were all offensive loaded. So we're going to see what happens this year. If Caleb Williams can't get it down this year, it's going to be a problem. Nobody's got more pressure on him right now than that young man.
Absolutely. And he's got to handle it because that's what the NFL
That's right.
about.
Surprise me, Caleb. Let's go. Come on.
Let's go. NFC
Although
North,
I wanted
who wins
Trubisky. How about this? I didn't want Trubisky gone. And then Trubisky goes to Pittsburgh. He's 2-2. It's 10-6 at halftime. And they pull him. And they put in their savior, Kenny Pickett, who's going to be out of the league this year, it looks like. And that's a Tomlin move. And Tomlin hasn't paid enough for that. And you know what Trubisky finally said? Nobody wants me to play a full game anymore. I'll just go to Buffalo and hold the clipboard for $5 million a year for Josh Allen. If he gets hurt, I'll fill in. I'll come in at the end of games. I'm not putting up with this bias and this BS that I've been putting up with.
Breaking news. Rough ending to practice for Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely. Carted back to the locker room. Got hurt during a one-on-one rep. Oh my goodness. He just signed an extension, I think. That is, I mean, this is it's tough, you know, and there's a fine line you draw between practicing hard and not. I'm always towards practicing hard. Shitty situation, but I feel like John Harbaugh sometimes runs them a little too hard.
Matt Nagy didn't practice when he was with the Bears.
Oh, that was the low end of the spectrum, the underachiever. Yeah,
he never practiced. They never practice. I mean, it's the game of football. It's collision. Mm-hmm. It's what it's meant to be. I mean, you know, there's a saying. You know, I saw the Monday Night Football beginning from 1970. They show all the tackles. Do you know that every one of the tackles they show on the Monday Night Football opening back in the day with Cosell, Meredith, and Gifford? Every one of those tackles where Joe Turkey Jones ends up on his head, another guy's getting blasted, they'd all be penalties now. Mm-hmm. They would all be penalties. That's how far the game has gone from tough all the way over here to mild.
100%, my friend. NFC North, who wins it, Mike?
I'm going with Detroit. I hear people saying that, you know, they're going to suffer because Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are gone. But, you know, Campbell's still there, number one. And, you know, Ben Johnson has never been a head coach like he stated earlier. So he's going to have to make the decisions of going for it on fourth down from his own 30, like Campbell used to. Now, I give Ben Johnson credit. He made it. He got it done. But I'm going to liken it to when the Bears in 85, after 85, lost Buddy Ryan. Everybody predicted doom. They had a better record and a better defense statistically, but not a defense with teeth the next year. They went 14-2. I'm thinking Detroit. I'm thinking Jared Goff and that team knows the offense. I'm thinking they're going to get it done. I don't see anybody else that's strong enough. The Bears, Minnesota, I'm hoping for McCartney. I hope he does a good job. And then you got Jordan Love, who a lot of people seem to like. He got hurt last year, but a lot of people seem to like him. I happen to like this kid from Michigan, this Minnesota Viking quarterback, coached under Jim Harbaugh. I think he's going to surprise some people. I saw what Sam Darnold did, and I think this McCartney kid can do the same thing as Sam Darnold did last year as a rookie. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna reluctantly stick with Detroit. I don't like what happened with their offensive line a little bit too.
A little bit. They lost.
I mean, here's the thing. I took a shot against the Bears and against the Packers by taking both the Detroit Lions and the Vikings.
Good idea.
To win the division at plus money. So that's what
Good
I did.
idea.
NFC South, my man. This is always the worst division in football, but now you got a lot of changes. You got a different quarterback in Atlanta that looks serviceable, and Michael Penix. You got an interesting Tampa Bay team that has a Baker Mayfield. Where are you going with the NFC South?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Michael Penix guy. I'm really not, because he hasn't done anything yet, to be honest with you. I think that division is weak. New Orleans is in trouble. And I just think that Baker Mayfield's a winner. They crapped all over him in Cleveland. He made the playoffs in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Just like Trubisky made the playoffs in Chicago, and they couldn't wait to get rid of these guys.
Yeah.
They get rid of them. And then he goes and bounces around a little bit. Now he found the right system for himself. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
I agree with you. I'm going with Tampa Bay as well. And I went under in the win total for the Saints because they have no quarterback. Their coach is brand new. And I'm not sure if he earned it yet.
I agree.
Look, he went to a stacked Eagles team. Come on. They have Tyler Shook. I mean, this dude was never an NFL quarterback in my mind. And then all the, issues that they had with Carr, and now he's not playing. This team's an absolute freaking mess. And I think
they couldn't keep things in the clubhouse either. I like a quiet clubhouse. I like a team that just goes out and plays football. They couldn't. They had all sorts of upheaval there last year, and then they get rid of their coach, their head coach.
Yeah, Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore did okay in Dallas, but I mean, they were stacked. And then you go to the Eagles. It's like he's getting a lot of credit, and I think holding a clipboard and being an offensive coordinator is a hell of a lot different than running a team. And
I agree.
Trying to pick this whole situation. NFC East. Is this a repeat of last year? Is there like a Super Bowl? I had Mike Palma on the other week, right before I went
I love Mike.
He's great. Isn't he great? But he's like an exacta looks like this. It looks like Eagles, Washington, Dallas, and then the Giants. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. But I tell you this, I didn't go against the Eagles. If I was going to go against anyone, it would be Washington, just because I think that they overachieved. But what are your thoughts?
Philadelphia is going to repeat. I think they're going back to the Super Bowl. Now, I heard somebody say the other day, in fact, my good buddy Carmen DeFalco said, and I had my buddy on Luke Pergandi from Prop Swap, and they go, it's tough to repeat. It's tough to repeat. I said, well, what? Kansas City's gone 3 times in a row. And the Chiefs have gone to the Super Bowl 3 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Have they not? Yes. They lost 1 and they won 2, right? Mm-hmm. Am I right? Okay. Yep. So now, they did it 3 times. The Eagles are playing in the NFC. We had trouble finding somebody that's going to win the South. We had trouble finding somebody. Is Detroit going to be as strong? To me, the NFC is the weakest it's been in a long time. I think the Eagles are going to win it off the fact they have a terrific quarterback, and I wish everybody would get off his damn back. All right? I've never seen anything so insane in my life. Here's a guy that's gone to 2 Super Bowls. He's done it all. He's a winner. He's a gym rat. And then I got to hear that he's not even a top 10 quarterback in some people's eyes. Are you kidding me? Jalen Hurts is a competitor. I'm going to tell everybody this right now. I'm a Bear fan. I'd trade Caleb Williams for Jalen Hurts tomorrow. I don't care if he had 18 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions and 2,900 yards. That's the way they play. They run the football. They had a guy like Barkley. What's he going to do? Oh, he doesn't have enough yards. He's going to pass and ignore a guy that was ripping off 6-7 yards at a time. So I think it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles that go to the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if they're going to win it.
Jalen Hurts, and I told my son about this. I said, watch how he handles his emotions when he throws the interception, loses a game, not too down on himself, just kind of kosher right in the middle. Right. When he wins the Super Bowl, he looked like he just had to go to bed early one night or something. And it's like no super cheering. He's just like, I just love it. It's just that's the kind of guys that win. They're not dangerously emotional.
He said the other day, they go, why aren't you wearing your ring? He goes, that was last year.
There you go. He went to Michael Jordan. He went to Tom Brady and all the greats and asked them how to repeat. That scares me, man. if I'm an NFC East fan of any other team than that, I'm scared.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm in love with the kid. I didn't even, you know what? I wasn't a big Jalen Hurts fan, and he's had his ups and downs, and he's had to persevere. I wasn't even a huge fan of his until the last couple of years. They're going, well, he ain't that good. I go, what are you people smoking? He's a field general. He's not. Every quarterback's not supposed to throw for 4,000 yards. I mean, look at this kid Herbert. There's no doubt Herbert's got a better arm and better moxie as far as throwing the ball than Jalen Hurts. I would never take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. They could say, well,
not right now.
Look, they go look at the team that Hurts is on. He's got 8, 9 Pro Bowlers. Well, I heard Cam Newton say that the other day, downriding the kid. Well, hold on for a minute. Cam Newton had 7, 8 Pro Bowlers on his team the year he won MVP. So these guys are all jealous. They're all envious. And to take a shot, only in America, only in the National Football League, can you hear the quarterback is the most important piece of a football team, except the Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's just completely nuts. And that bothers me a lot. This kid deserves all the credit in the world. Where was Philadelphia before? I mean, they went with the kid Foles, and that was just a freak thing because the Bears got him, and he couldn't play dead. So, it's good that they have a great team around it, but Jalen Hurts knows how to move that team. And then, what do they want to do, Kiev? They want to get rid of the guy who the NFL wanted to ban a play on. He's the only guy that can do the tush push. That's an automatic touchdown, and they're down wrapping the kid. They can't stop him.
Yeah, other teams try it and they're not nearly as successful.
No.
So it's not their fault for it. I took the Giants under 5.5 just because their schedule's the hardest in the land.
Yeah.
It is freaking hard. I like Russell Wilson, but dude, he's in the twilight too.
Yeah.
Caring about social media.
One of the great winners. I remember he went from one college to then he went to Wisconsin. He was.
I love that because I'm a Badger fan. So I did love that year.
His senior year. He just goes there and they make him captain. Then they kick ass. Then he goes to Seattle. I always loved Russell Wilson. I don't know what happened the last few years. Of course, the teams around him haven't maybe been as good, but he hasn't been as good either. So
you know what?
He's
just like I said, he peaked early. He peaked.
Yeah, but you're going to peak when it's
coming out. His peak was in college in the first year. I mean, that was when he's the most competitive, the quickest witted, and that's what happens. You don't know when people peak. He peaked, man, and some people do peak.
But if you can peak and win a Super Bowl.
Oh, it's the first year, and so it worked out great for Seattle. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
and he should have 2 Super Bowls, but we don't need to get into that.
Well, who do they got this year? Who's quarterback in Seattle this year?
That was a horrible mistake to bring Sam Darnold in because that was.
I'm just telling you.
Well, let's go to them. Let's go to the NFC West.
I love when you say that.
Let's do it. The Niners, holy cow, lost a lot of pieces, a lot of injuries. This is one of the most interesting divisions because you got the Rams with an amazing coach and Sean McVay. You got the Cardinals that are just kind of being quiet, and Jonathan Gannon seems to have his head together. Is Kyler Murray going to be? I think this is the most interesting division in football.
You might be right about that. I'm going to take the Rams.
Okay, you know what? I had Matt Humans on last week.
Matt, what did Matt say? Did great Chicago guys think alike?
There you go. He took the Rams again. And I don't disagree with that. I took a shot with the Cardinals. They had the highest Pythagorean win total. But I'll tell you this, the Seattle Seahawks, that Sam Darnold shit, that is not going to age well because that was all Kevin O'Connell. And see, that's what the difference is with a great coach. They can make a quarterback look great. Look what Kyle Shanahan's done. Imagine if Brock Purdy was on the Bears. Or if oh my shit, they'd be dead and buried in a cemetery right now.
He'd make the playoffs and they get rid of him. Just like they did with Trubisky.
They ain't making no playoffs. He would look like a below average quarterback, and you'd be like, what the hell? And that's the difference. And that's what Seattle's going to find out.
But let me ask you,
coach. But let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this, because I got to ask you this. If Brock Purdy is the product, and he played pretty good with a lot of injuries last year, if he's the product of the team, what happened to Trey Lance?
Well, Trey Lance just couldn't learn. I think that
you played 3 guys for him. You better know how to read a book, son. Right?
John Lynch, that was on him more than I think Shanahan. I think Shanahan had to say I'm okay with it. He had to go with the interviews with Lynch. He was being dragged around, basically, right? So I think that this was Lynch's BS, and Lynch fucked up Don't get me wrong.
How did he? But he fucked up. But he got Purdy, and Purdy saved his ass.
Well, that's the makeup for it, right? I mean, at
well,
least
the makeup is Purdy's damn good though, Kiev. You're not giving Purdy any credit. If Purdy was on 20, there's 20 teams that would like his numbers. I know what you're saying.
Look, Purdy is definitely better and his draft should have been a lot higher. But I'm just saying that there's teams that would have ruined him, just like Trubisky was. Really, you make that.
I agree with that.
There's teams that would have ruined the guy.
Well, you know what? The Bears.
Maybe if he was on like the Colts, he would still be good. But if he was on the Bears, if he was on the Cleveland Browns, if he was on some of these horrible franchises out there, the Giants, he wouldn't have looked any better than the quarterbacks.
I got news for you. If Johnny Unitas had been on the Bears, he would have looked like crap. If Joe Montana had been on the Bears, they have never
had different careers.
They have Terry Bradshaw. The Bears had a coin flip with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We flipped the coin, we lost. Pittsburgh took Bradshaw. If the Bears end up with Bradshaw, he's never on Fox. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have 4 Super Bowls.
Amen.
You're listening. I've been a fan for 61 years. Trust me on that.
Speaking of Terry Bradshaw in the AFC North, I just mentioned Cleveland. What do you got going on with this one? I don't see the Ravens losing this, even if likely he's out for the year, because they're loaded with tight ends there. I still have the Ravens. I took a little pinch because Aaron Rodgers is kind of a nut job. I took under, and I lost, and I lose this every freaking year on the Steelers. But you know what? I think this is the year that they're like, what the hell were we thinking?
Well, my favorite is Aaron Rodgers is a nut job. That's my favorite quote from you. Yeah, to put it lightly, I hope he gets his butt kicked every time he takes a snap, to be honest with you. Look, Lamar Jackson is a great player, but he's an Aaron Rodgers. He has one. Aaron Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl and 4 MVPs, which is absolutely ludicrous. Okay, he's a stat stuffer. Lamar Jackson is a stat stuffer and a regular season hero. That means I can't beat Mahomes, and when I get into the playoffs, I can't play a decent game. Now, Josh Allen is a different story. Who played? I think he was the best player in the playoffs last year in the AFC.
Oh, and if you want, let's transition right into the AFC South or the AFC East, because we'll go to the AFC South. I always forget the AFC South because they were very forgettable. So remind me to get
I didn't even know there was an AFC South. AFC South. Okay.
I say this all the time. Every time I get on a show, if Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen is the best playmaker in the NFL, and that is 100%. Lamar should be, and he's very close to them, but he's just not doing it in the playoffs. But I'm not going to get in the way of a regular season John Harbaugh, because I just think they win.
He's an overrated coach.
Yeah, he's overrated because of some of his decisions.
He won the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl, but this guy goes for it on 4th down.
Well, he was stacked. He was stacked when that team
came in. And he gets stopped.
Yeah, he makes some dumb decisions. I think Jim's the better coach, if you want to talk.
I do too. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I'm going to tell you this. I think the Lamar Jackson thing, I don't think he's ever going to win a Super Bowl. That's my opinion. I think Josh Allen will win before he does.
I like the Bills. And
we'll get Josh Allen cannot. These guys, Mahomes has won. Listen to this. They've won 9 straight divisions. Now, the record's 11 with New England, but they've won 9 straight divisions. And guess what? Oh, he doesn't have a line, or he's got receivers that drop the ball, or the running back situation isn't good, or, they lost this guy, and then every year they're in it. He just has that gene, that closer's gene, and that's what Lamar doesn't have. I think Josh Allen does. We'll see what happens, but I have no horse in this. If Lamar Jackson won, I'd be thrilled for him. But I don't think they have the overall team, and that injury today is not good. Buffalo's got the best chance, but I just think as long as you got Mahomes, he wants to catch Brady. He's never going to do it. If he would have won last year, that's another win, and that's less than you need going down the pike. And they're not getting any younger. I'm hoping Kelsey can bounce back for him. He fell in love, with the singer. And, he's lost a little bit of an edge. He couldn't get open.
What did Nick say in Rocky 1? Women make you weak in the knees, Rock. That's
Yeah.
what he said. I don't know what happened. It's probably age and there's a combination. But
Still
once
a good player.
you know, and that's what I hate about second contracts paying for past. It's like once they get to that second contract, they might think that they're going to try as hard, but the truth is subconsciously they're not as hungry. They're not that dog that was brought from
Mahomes
area.
But don't you think Mahomes is?
Yeah, Mahomes so far. Yeah, Mahomes so
Monster.
far.
Guy's a monster. He wants to win every
and that's
game.
why I say he's the best. He's still as much as I hate on him for all the refs and all that. He's still the best in my mind. He's still the best quarterback in the NFL. And
Agreed.
And I'll stick with that. But I don't like. I think the team lost a lot, and we'll get to the AFC West. But you know, going back to the AFC East, it's the Bills, and I think the Bills.
Yeah.
When the home field, they have the easiest strength schedule in all of football for how strong they are. You know, it's crazy that they're getting the Ravens and the Chiefs at home for a number one schedule. And look at the rest of the crap that they play. The Patriots
I saw
a little bit overrated. I like Vrabel, but seriously, going to 8.5 wins. It's like the same thing as the Bears jump. It's like going all the way up to 8.5. It's like those expectations are too high, and he had to revamp that team. They're not going to be that good. I'm waiting to the very end to take the Patriots under. I haven't taken it yet. Justin Fields and the Jets. That's going to be a fun game against Pittsburgh the very first week. You know, so I'm looking forward to that game.
My buddy Mike Greenberg. We started together back in '92, and I was watching them the other day, and word came over that Justin Fields got hurt. Okay. And they didn't know what was wrong yet. So he's reading it. And they said he was carted off or carried off the field. And Greeny looked physically ill, like he was going to faint. And I'm saying to him, wait a minute. And I wanted to call him and say, it's Justin Fields. Where the hell do you think you're going? Where do they think they're going? I see.
That's on them. That stupidity is on them. That is not on anybody else but them.
Namath is still the greatest quarterback they ever had. Richard Todd, Kenny O'Brien, Pennington. I mean, all these guys. And I see Greeny, and he got unsteady. He's been carted off. I thought Joe Montana got hurt. Wait till they get a load of Justin Fields, period.
Oh, geez, that's going to be fun.
My God.
Oh, man, him versus Rodgers. I cannot wait, man. All right, well, let's move on.
I was happy when Rodgers got his ass. I felt bad that it was the first play, but that's karma, man.
All right, AFC South, we have to mention it. And, Mike, I got to tell you, I love losing money on the Jaguars. I freaking love it. It's my thing to do. It's like a donation back to the books. I am going to lose money with them again. I took over 7.5 wins. Look, man, I can I be that wrong about Trevor Lawrence? Maybe. I'm giving it one more freaking year. He hasn't had a coach with a pulse yet, in my opinion. I think
that I agree with. I agree with you.
Maybe with Liam Cohen, he finally has somebody that's going to fix this, because this team is more stacked than people think. They should have been. They should be competing way better. And Lawrence has some head issues, but Jesus Christ, man, this is your year to fight, and you got to make the playoffs. Plus 172, I put them to make the playoffs. They could be the surprise team in the AFC.
You might be, because you know what, Keith? I got to be honest with you. A good buddy of mine, Tommy McManus, one of the great linebackers that played for Jacksonville back in the day, Tommy Mack. He has a podcast, and, he seems high on that, but he played for the team. But you had Urban Meyer. You had the coach from the Eagles. I don't know how he won a Super Bowl. He was just dreadful. Peterson, just horrible. But I can't believe, and this is the truth, and I'm an old school guy, but I don't care how people look. I never have. But I would have thought Trevor Lawrence would have grown up and gotten a haircut by now. And look, you know what I'm saying? Because he's got the long locks, the real long locks.
Maybe he thinks he's Samson. If he cuts his hair, he loses his power. It's like power to what? Turn the fucking ball over?
I think it's the other way around. If you cut your hair, I'd get a butch cut like Johnny U. I'd get a butch cut. I don't even know how to make. I never learned. How did Johnny United? My dad had one of those flat tops. I told the barber one time, give me a flat top. Oh, no, you can't have a flat. Well, there's like 10 guys in this whole country. One of them was my dad that can have a flat top. Nobody, I don't even know how to get one. Get a flat type like Johnny U. Quit looking like you're the lead singer of Heart, okay?
I just heard one of their songs last night.
Yeah, you know what? And I like the guy. I thought he's fooled me so far, but I think it's sort of like the Trubisky Bear saga and other guys with the Bears, the coaching. And we'll see what happens. I like Liam Cohen, but he got off to a shaky start too with some weird things. So we'll see what happens.
AFC West, you and Patrick Mahomes, my friend. Is this a repeat again? Yeah. The Chiefs just keep sitting there.
Every year we take Buffalo. Every year, Buffalo.
No, that's the AFC East.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up.
Buffalo's got the easiest schedule. If you're going against Buffalo, we're going to have
to I'm sorry. Kansas City, every year we try to figure out a way Kansas City's going to lose. Kansas City, 9 years straight. I don't see them. Andy Reid.
Harbaugh's there. You know what's funny about this? You have 4 coaches that all won championships. 3 won NFL. Harbaugh been to one and won the college. It's amazing how stacked this is. You know, Pete Carroll won both in the college and the pros, right? You got obviously, you know, the GOAT, right? I mean, you have to say Andy Reid's probably the best ever now. I don't know, maybe. And then obviously, who am I missing here? Sean Payton. Sean Payton won too. So it's crazy that you're stacked with all this talent. I just think that, you know, this could be a down year for the Chiefs, and
this isn't going to be this will be of no new. This will come. We have a swamp here in Chicago. Swamp media, like every city's got a swamp. You know, bear kiss assers, and you know, if you're an outsider, they'll scoff at you. I said last year when the Bears were going through their search for the coach, I said Pete Carroll. I want Pete Carroll for the Chicago Bears because we need somebody that's a discipline, somebody that's tasted it. We've only had one coach that won a Super Bowl, though, and his name was John Fox. We brought him over because the Bears usually go with first-time coaches.
Did he win one? He went to one.
He went to one, but then he went to the Super Bowl, and then he came to the Bears and looked like he never coached a game. That's in light of what you've been talking about with the Bear coaches. Jim Harbaugh, to me, is one of my – I love Jimmy, and I was here when Jimmy played quarterback. He was an underrated quarterback. He almost took Indianapolis to the championship. I love the guy, but I just think the continuity of Reid and Mahomes trumps. And Justin Herbert has not shown me the closer gene. I don't care how many I don't know how many fourth quarters he's won. If I'm not mistaken, what place did they finish last year? I'm trying to remember the Chargers.
The Chargers were in second in the division,
right?
And then I think the Denver got the wild card, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, that division kicked everyone's butts, but
Doug Buffone was a Bear linebacker, and I said to Doug, did an AFL team draft you in 65, 66? He says, yeah, they did. And, you know, I'm glad I didn't take their pay. He played 14 years with the Bears. I go, well, who drafted you? He goes, San Diego, the Chargers. He says, Mike, there was no way. He's a kid from Pennsylvania. And back then, the NFL was the king. And AFL was emerging, but they were still young. But they were trying to pirate players like Sayers, and Ditka got offers, and everybody got offers. Butkus got an offer. He turned them down. Gale Sayers turned down the Chiefs. Thank God, because, you know, we would have been screwed to the wall. But Doug Buffone told me, to me, he said, at the time, San Diego's not a place conducive to winning football. And he was right. But now they move over to LA where they're basically stepchildren, right? They're the stepchildren in that whole scenario with the Rams. Am I wrong? Mm-hmm. The Rams are the owner of that stadium. They're like tenants. They've always been secondhand news, the Chargers. Maybe Jimmy can get them into the playoffs. Maybe I'm hoping he can get them into the playoffs because he's one of the top 5 coaches in all football. No doubt about it, college or pro. And I think he's as good a coach as Nick Saban was. He just didn't have the horses that Nick Saban had, but he did win a national championship at Michigan, which, wow, it used to be.
He also went to the playoffs twice in a row too.
Yeah.
It's hard to repeat that.
It's hard. You know, and it's hard to repeat, and he just rebuilds everything. So I'm hoping that he could be and win it, but I'm just
no one
a
can
trend.
hate you for that. No one can hate you on taking the
Yeah.
Chiefs. If you didn't take the Chiefs the last 8-9 years, you
You're
lost
dead.
money. And so I mean,
Yes.
that's your argument right there. We got about a minute left. Then who is Mike North's Super Bowl pick? Give us the matchup, and maybe the winner.
I'm going Philadelphia again.
Okay. All right. Philly versus Kansas City again?
I just think they only have to beat an AFC team once. Okay. They got to go through the NFC, the playoffs, and everything else. Kiev. I think that they're going to do that. I think they're the dominant team, and they replace. You lose Kelsey at center, they replace them. You know, and like they didn't miss anybody. And I just think Hurts is an animal. I do. I don't care what he throws for. Everybody falls in love with statistics. Now, if you lose Hurts, okay, and this is where injury comes in. You know who you're looking at? Tanner McKee. Okay? So for people that think Jalen Hurts sucks, for people like Cam Newton that says he's not a top 10 quarterback, I'm here to tell you, if he went down tomorrow, the Eagles are going to win 5 games. So that's pretty important, the quarterback position. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. All right. I'm going to go the Bills.
Woo, big guy. How many years in a row now, Kiev?
Look, I didn't bet him before. I bet him this year. All right.
Okay.
Now look.
Oh, you gave me the eyes. You gave me the eyes there.
Well, here's the thing. Their schedule's so easy. I expect them to get the Chiefs at home. And when they get the Chiefs at home, they do usually win that game.
That's a good point.
It could happen. But
yeah.
Who are they going to beat? The Eagles. I'm with you. I think they beat the Eagles. I think it's just, boom, boom. We're going to be close. And Mike, come Super Bowl in February, I got to have you back on the show so we can
come back anytime.
This, friend.
I respect the hell out of you. You're a hardworking guy. I can tell it's football season. As soon as I see odds breakers come up, I know right away. I get the chills. The hair stands up on the back of my neck. I go, Kiev's back. I go, that's it. If I wear a T-shirt, the nipples get hard. It's crazy.
Sounds like a cool breeze down in Chicago.
You got that right,
my friend. But Mike, you're the best. Thank you so much for coming on, breaking all this stuff down. Love talking. I can talk 3 hours with you, but we don't have any time. Where could our listeners get your wonderful information?
All right, I'm on I have a show called Somebody Big Just Died. Okay, and it's on the Barroom Network, the Barroom app. It's about people that are celebrities that die. Okay, well, guess what? I'm doing Ryan Sandberg Thursday night at 8:00.
Beautiful.
Already this week, we've done Hulk Hogan. We've done Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, it's just been brutal. There's been 8.
Sadly, you've been really busy lately.
Yeah, there's been 8 deaths in July, and we're not done. And there was 7 in June. 15. I thought this was going to be a part-time gig. I got great sponsors. I got a good gig there, and we're going to do Rhino. And then I got ESPN 1000, where I have a wagering show called The Odds Couple with Carmen DeFalco, and we're on Saturdays, either before the White Sox, if it's a night game at 1:00, or afterwards. Just check your local listings after the White Sox game. If it's a day game, if they play and they get done at 5, we come on. Plus, the podcast is up right away. Just go to ESPN 1000 app, and then I'm always on Twitter. I love Twitter. That's how I met you, at North to North, NORTH, sure. Number 2 NORTH. It's as good as being on with if you're active on Twitter or any of the social media stuff, folks. It's good if you can actually banter with some people that don't think they're too big for the social media, because I love social media.
Absolutely. There's more good if people do it right, and 100%. But there's also always more good in Mike North. Make sure you guys check out Mike. Mike, I'll be texting you. We'll bring you back on at the beginning of the season. Can't wait for that already. Who was this,
Kiev? Who batted like this?
Who batted like that? Oh, God.
Ernie
Banks. Yeah, but that was past my time. But now that you said that.
I know, you're a kid. You're a kid.
Talk to you soon, my friend.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.